Welcome to the Rose Quartz Divorce Podcast. This is an alternative way to look at the divorce process. My name is Diana D'Amato, and I'm a meditation teacher, grief recovery specialist, and I am checking in today as ready to turn the page, ready to go.
My name is Brice. I am a oral counselor, preacher, and I am checking in as well. Happy to be on this episode.
It's been a bit of time coming, Stephen. We've been we've been having this idea for some time, and bringing anything into fruition is like, it takes a leap of faith, I'll say. The only way to start is to start.
Right. Big one off.
Right. It's like the only prep for yoga is yoga. It's like you just got to get in there, get on that mat.
Right. But this kind of for the visionary by this word is such an important, necessary, elegant, purposeful, meaningful work. And so it's important that we get use and innovation for your courage. Thank you for the great invitation for me to be part of this journey. It's going to be interesting.
It is. It is. It's going to be a really fun ride. And I have to say, like, I have had a podcast before, and I always prayed for a partner to have the podcast with. I wanted a co-host, and it was just to give people a little background. When Stephen and I just met for coffee about something completely different one day, I said, "Hey, let me just bounce this thing off of you. I've been thinking about just give me like whatever you think, feedback." And I remember like spinning my laptop around to show you the sort of website in in progress. And I mean, it was like the look on your face over that laptop was, and you looked at me and said, "I have been thinking about doing this for a long time." So we were really both in the psychic net of having that idea. And, the universe and the forces that be, our spirits and guides and ancestors, all brought us together in that moment. I mean, it was really palpable. So I am very grateful to be moving forward into this podcast with you, the Rose Quartz Divorce Podcast. And I encourage people to go on over to the website as well, because we have a lot of resources on the website and things that you can do to join in the community. And that's what we're here to provide.
Yeah. Well, where do we begin?
Let's see. Okay, so speaking on divorce is a little bit taboo, even in this day and age. I think sometimes people feel like they can't talk about it, and I would really like to normalize that, and just be able to say, yes, I am in the divorce process. I'm thinking about a divorce. I've been through a divorce. I've been through multiple divorces, because the world is changing, and the way we are in relationships, especially intimate relationships, is really changing too. So I thought we'd begin with a little history lesson. And I found this article from the Smithsonian Magazine online. They seemed pretty legit. The author is Amanda Foreman, and it's called "The Heartbreaking History of Divorce."
Mm.
And yeah, I mean, it's not an easy process. So in The Heartbreaking History of Divorce, Amanda Foreman writes, in the United States, the probability of a first marriage lasting for 20 years has decreased to about 50-50. 50-50. I was watching the news this morning, and there are all these commercials on for these betting apps. And how many people do you think would take a 50-50 bet that they had to live with for a lifetime?
Sure, a lot of people would.
They would? We are we're romantics by nature. We believe we're going to win.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah.
be the ones to win. You're right. You're right. That's why all
Yeah.
those betting things are so popular. You're absolutely right.
Hmm.
Wow. So,
We're,
what about
we
you?
are, we are desperate. Like we're it's a borderline between desperate and optimistic.
Mm,
Right? We desire to win. We're desperate to win, right? Especially for folks who are not a part of the 1%, we are hungry to get over the hump of the rat race and, and live the life of our dreams. And so people will take chances, even if it's illegal, to win, right? So when we think about marriage, everyone, I think majority of humans want to be loved and come home to someone that we can share life with.
I do.
So do I. So yeah, I think people will take that chance.
Yeah, I mean, I think we obviously do it all the time. And something kind of funny, I just recently started watching The Bachelor. Have you heard of this show?
I have.
It's kind of a big deal, apparently. I literally just started watching it 2 weeks ago, but I have blown through two seasons.
Yeah.
It's like it sort of magnifies the things that we all kind of want to do, and they all come in saying like, I'm here for love, I'm here for marriage, they want a proposal. They just met this person, you're spending minimal time with them, and they want to lock it in. And you see all these people on that show going through the machinations of the heart. And the there's a lot of really beautiful things that happen with like hot air balloons and horses and beaches and all that kind of stuff, but there's lot of really base emotions that come up as well. And it's just, I think, for people to be willing to put themselves on film going through that, I mean, I wasn't at my best, in some parts of my last relationship. And if I'd have watched that back, or God forbid someone like my, friends or family or kid watch it back, oh my goodness, I can't imagine. But that's, to your point, how desperate we are. It shows the desperation.
Yeah. It's a big business. Marriage, divorce, all the whole concept of love in America, at least here in the West, it's a big business. Right? We have all of these shows of finding love. And I would call out these shows, but we're not being endorsed by them just yet. So until they endorse us, then we'll give them a shout out, right? But if you look at Netflix and all, well, I'm just kidding. About anyway. So if you look at all of what these shows, one is one. There's folks who are making money off of it, but then secondly, we all gravitate towards it because of the ambiance, the presentation. Like as you mentioned, the horses, hot air balloon. Like, we that's our fantasy, right? In many ways. And so, but then what would it look like if we start to film what marriage is really like? Would that even be popular?
Oh my God. Like, you mean if there was a show like The Bachelor, but they actually had to like clean and cook and, go figure out the money situation and
Huh?
get kids dressed and walk dogs in the rain
Right?
and
Yeah.
yeah, clean up after each other and deal with each other's in-laws. And can we go on? Wow, I think you're onto something. I think we have a
Okay.
pilot.
We did.
Yeah,
We did.
that's
We did.
because that's for real. That's what it comes down to after the fantasy, after the wedding, I guess, is the ultimate fantasy. And something I've always been amazed at is how easy it is to get married. And there are some barriers in terms of finance if you want a big wedding, but if all you want to do is get married, you can just like go down to a building and like,
Downtown.
yeah, you go downtown, get a piece of paper, right? Or Vegas, or, and And like they don't ask you like, okay, so what's your financial status or plan? How many kids do each of you want? Are you a dog person? That's one for me. They don't ask you like, what's your vision?
Oh, it is.
Because then
Oh,
after, if it doesn't work out, you are held highly accountable if that doesn't work out. The process is a lot more difficult to unwind.
yeah. It's so destructive, right? Divorce is painfully destructive. And it's so destructive and so painful to where we just cannot continue to allow people just to have this fairy tale view of marriage. We have this is why this work is so important. Because indirectly we're also communicating to folks who are not married to really think about this decision. This decision should not be taken lightly. This is a life altering decision.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
And I'm speaking from my own experience, my own heart.
I'm thinking of my own experience, and I don't, in my direct experience, I didn't have like a pastor or a counselor or somebody, really go through the process with me. It was just like, you know, yay, you're getting married. And then people start planning the party, kind of.
Yeah.
But I wonder, in your experience as a pastor and counselor, like, was my experience different? Do people normally, if if you have a pastor, do you go through some kind of premarital training?
And we're talking about premarital, counseling. We both have a background in counseling. We grew up in the church and all that. For me personally, the imagery or the idea of marriage was fluffy. It was pretty. It was it fed into the Disney like fairy tale of marriage. Of course, you would hear moments where this is a serious decision, but you saw the glamour around marriage, and so I was attracted to the glamour of marriage, and I got married on those pretenses. And then when you think about also the fact that I'm a young preacher and I'm rising up the ranks of preaching, there's a subtle pressure to be married because you want to have your first lady. Um, so I got married along those lines, and I didn't realize that after the honeymoon is real life. A person changes, you change, you evolve. I got married at the age of 22, 23. And so I was super young, and I thought I had life figured out. And so there's a sense of arrogance that I had to it as well that I want to own.
Well, I think we all do. I think we're all going to be the ones that make it work. That's how we
Right.
go into it. And it's interesting because you were 22. I was 39 when I got married, and it was my first marriage. And I thought I had it figured out by then. You think like, oh, well, like I waited, I know myself, I established this, that, and the third thing. Um, you think, I mean, to be honest, I remember even thinking, well, like, I mean, I'm really halfway through life. Like, I only have to, it's not like I got married when I was 22 and I got to be with this person for 60 years. I can do this. I can hang for this long. Oh, so
Wow.
there is that arrogance there that you think you're gonna be the ones, that are gonna make it. You have to. You have to.
Yeah.
We have to believe.
Yeah. But what happens when it doesn't work out?
Right. Well, I also found this abstract. So, one of the things I want to continue to do in our talks here is bring some dialogue that has some teeth to it in terms of finding studies for people to ponder. And this one was by an abstract by Stephanie Coons, and it states that the fragility of modern marriage stems from the same values that have elevated the marital relationship above all other personal and familial commitments. The concentration of emotion, passion, personal identity, and self validation in the couple relationship, and the attenuation of emotional attachments and obligations beyond the conjugal unit. Whew, a lot of big words. A lot of big words there, but it's saying that in modern day, we have elevated marriage to be more important than every other relationship or commitment, and we're expecting everything out of it, all the emotion, all our passion, all our personal identity and self-validation even coming from that relationship. So it's like the whole world is supposed to be built around this one relationship, which means this one other person, right? So I think that is too much. That's so much, to put on any one thing. It's so much. Goes on to say the immediate causes of divorce may range from factors as diverse as the personal psychological characteristics of one or both spouses to the stresses of economic hardships and community disintegration. But in a larger perspective, the role of divorce in modern societies and its relatively high occurrence both flow from the same complex of factors that have made good marriages so much more central to people's happiness than through the most of the past, and deterioration of a marital relationship becomes so much more traumatic. So,
Wow, that's a mouthful. One thing that one thing that stands out that I think is so important to talk about is this notion that my spouse is going to be my everything,
everything. Hmm.
and it's supposed to meet all of my needs. I, I don't see how realistic that is. So we're imperfect human beings. We have deficits, right? We don't have it all together. How in the world will I be able to satisfy all of my partner's needs? There are going to be some days where I am not going to be bothered.
To be honest, um, that's true though, and that should be okay. That should be okay, But if what we're doing as a society is moving towards this thing of marriage being a fantasy, an ideal, a one-stop shop for personal identity and value, right? I mean, there's no one-stop shop for anything,
Right.
so to put that all on one person and one relationship, I think there's no question we can probably all agree intellectually it doesn't make sense, and yet we believe, we think we're going to be the ones, and sometimes we are, but so many things have to come together to maintain the relationship, and I think a lot of times the fantasy is around the attaining instead of the maintaining.
We are dropping the for our listeners.
That just, yeah.
Wow.
Mm.
Yeah. So I think that you know, unfortunately, at least 50% of folks are dealing with divorce right now, studies. What's not us? So our work is important because we are taking conversations that are being had closed, closed doors or within counseling sessions, and we're opening them up uh, and to help us and help each other. We're not gurus or experts or anything. We're just kind of we're just people. This way big things. Can we talk about this? We families or support. So that you know, right? When I was going through my situation, my divorce, felt shame. I felt guilty. I'm at the point of the man's house, and I broke my family apart. And everyone had a well, I felt like I have something doing this. I'm really sure different too. But when we have kids involved, there's a lot of guilt associated. So I find it a gift or a blessing for me to be part of this work with you. Because I need to be part for others with everything when I was
That's something I feel you on too. And I am so sorry that, you went through that and being so young and the pressures that were on you. I'm so sorry that you didn't have that support. And I feel it so deeply that, again, that's part of, why I want to put this out there. And this is kind of like putting, again, something sort of taboo out there, right? Where there's just a certain, I don't see it this way. Let me be clear, but there's a certain segment of society or a certain kind of person who sees divorce as a failure. And I felt the weight of that failure too. And so I get it, but also I inside knew it was the right thing and that it was a success. I had a successful marriage for a while, right? And I think we both learned and grew, and even in the messiest parts of it, it there were things you can absolutely say were a success. And I think a lot of people maybe will say their kids, but even if children weren't involved, like, the maybe it's like this sort of, I don't know, linear part of my mind, but like the scientific process requires elimination of hypotheses. And sometimes you learn the fucking hard way sometimes, right? And you might put a lot of time into that process, and sometimes that hurts. The investment of time into something that you believed in, beyond the financial devastation and the heartbreak. Sometimes just that you feel like, my God, this time in my life, this chunk of years during this special time in my life, or, it feels like such a loss. But it could be reframed as a success, even if it got really messy, right? Because that's how experiments are. That's, we're not successful at everything every time. And I felt very unsupported through that process. And I definitely hear you and feel you on that. And probably most people that went through a divorce get it, that, there's that whole thing of like people choosing people choosing sides. And, you kind of lose some relationships outside of the marriage along the way. I think, that really hurts. That really hurts when that happens. And and I definitely had that happen, um, as well. But even those experiences taught me something, through even losing some people I thought were my people, learned who I really could go to, and how to be resilient and find solutions for myself that sometimes hurt my pride, to be honest. But they were there and placed there so that I could survive and move into a place where I could thrive again.
Wow. Well said. Wow. To think of your marriage being successful, even though it might have ended in divorce, is a different orientation, a different way of looking at this. Oh, so, wow, thank you for that. I'm reflecting on my own marriage and like, yeah, it was successful. We really had a good time,
Yeah, and you
We just,
probably still do.
yeah, we're great friends now, right? Great co-parents. Just that the romantic side of things didn't work out, and
Yeah,
that's okay.
yeah. And
Well said.
it's gonna be like that, I think, for most people. There are some people that you just cannot. That's, no,
Right.
no, and I get that. Um, but I think with some time and space, you'll even, maybe it's not that person, but there will be other things that you will embrace as the successes. It doesn't have to be tied to one person, right? Just like your identity in the marriage doesn't have to be tied to that one person, or co-parenting, or there's a lot of different, you know, ways to unravel the relationship. And I think meditation for me, I always have said it is not optional for me. It's like it's my medicine.
Same.
I'm that kind of person. I think if I can give a gift to anyone, it's just like teaching people how to meditate on their own. And you do need some training. You do need, someone to ask questions. How should I do this? When should I do this? Like, what if I'm not doing this? All those kinds of things. I've always led with meditation because it keeps me on my center, or brings me as close to my center as I can get when I'm in crisis.
Same. Same. I would have lost my mind a long time ago if I didn't have the gift of meditation.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm so excited about these series of conversations. This is going to be awesome. Therapy for me to be able to talk out loud with you on some of these ideas, um, to challenge our thoughts, to bring people into the conversation. I think this is going to be a healing mission for a lot of folks. And so,
Yeah, that's the beauty of it,
yeah,
is being able to talk about it. We all have stories. And it's, you get to a point where you can tell those stories without breaking down, right? And
mhm,
it's like I think the meditation process and the other processes that we use as part of the rose quartz method, they help you feel it to heal it, kind of thing. You have to dig up what's there in order to let go of it. So, that is where the beauty of your new chapter and your new life, and whatever you will step forward into, and it's like, again, it doesn't have to be a fantasy. It could just be like, you know you feel good about yourself, or you can
right,
go, I have some really weird things that, like, that after getting myself to a place where I felt like myself again, where I was like, oh yeah, I really like doing X, Y, and Z, and I haven't done that in 10 years. These are like things that were free. I'm not saying it that you don't have to be like, an Instagram model or something, like, outwardly, like, whatever, but to get to the place where you can speak and have like some power back, and that feel good about yourself because of yourself. There is so much beauty in that, right? That's
I
where.
love that. I love that. Oh, wow. Oh, man. I felt that.
Good, good.
How much time we have left? Because I'm about to go to my friend's
I
function.
mean, we're gonna wrap it up, pretty much
Yeah.
soon here, but yeah, yeah.
But so I'm gonna say thank you for saying that because it is liberating. And when you go through grief, and of course we want to talk about the stages of divorce and grief and things of that nature, and you come back to yourself and you're doing stuff and things, activities for you, things that you like to do. It's like a rebirth, right? A new chapter, a new life, a fresh start. It's like spring is coming or has arrived, have arrived, right? And so, oh, I cannot relate to that so much, even more. There's so much we need to talk about. I don't want to forget.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's so much I want to dig into about this, but there was something I wanted to bring up to you before we sign off, something from
Okay.
sort of like the pop culture dialogue.
Hmm.
And this was a little article I found, that talked about people getting a bathroom divorce.
What?
So this is a new trend
Okay.
of bathroom divorce, and it's not as bad as it sounds. Or was well anyway. It's basically when two people are cohabitating, but they're fighting so much about bathroom habits that they split bathrooms. They actually like each have to have their own bathroom, not just sink, but you're not allowed in my bathroom anymore at all. So the seat's where I want it to be in the middle of the night, right? And the counter's as clear as you want it to be in the morning.
Uh-huh.
And those are things we no longer have to fight about. It's a bathroom divorce. The shot.
I like that. I I would like my own room too while I'm at it. There are times when we can sleep together, but there are times where I just want to sleep alone, spread my wings, and you know,
Enjoy being a big X on a king bed once in a while too.
yeah.
I get that. I get that. Yeah.
So, I'm rocking with that. I like it.
It's okay, right?
Oh man, I look that up.
Yeah, well, there we go. Look it up, everybody. Maybe it's another room or a closet or something. But if there's a way, I think, to cut down on the sort of itty bitty petty fighting, then why not? Why not?
Yeah,
Yeah, give us a
yeah,
shot.
that makes so much sense. That makes so much sense. Wow, like
Absolutely.
add that to my prenup if I get married again.
Oh, there's like a whole we could do probably a season on prenup or not to prenup. Um,
Mhm.
but for now, we'll call it a a rockin' day here on the Rose Quartz podcast. Thank you all so much for giving us some time in your ears and with
Mhm.
your eyes. And we'd like to hear from you if you have a question or a topic or you want to connect in any way we can support you. We absolutely will. Please check out our Instagram. It's Rose Quartz Pod. And you can go to our website, rosequartzdivorce.com. I will look forward to our next episode. Steven, got
Mhm.
anything
And
else?
if,
Mhm.
yeah, and if you want us to keep doing this, please subscribe, like, leave a comment, repost, reshare, do all of that if you don't mind. It is free for you to do that. So if you don't mind, help us out in that regard. We cannot wait to do this again on the next episode. See you all soon.
Absolutely. All right. All right. Big thanks to Joshua Bright for our music and to Cecia Guadron for the artwork. I'll post that in somewhere. Anyone else we need to? Oh, hold on. The Rose Quartz Divorce podcast is hosted by me, Diana D'Amato,
Stephen Zach Brice.
and produced by me, Diana. Thanks for listening.